Holy shit, he's on the air again. Is it a miracle? Is it a disaster? Who the fuck knows? But that's right. After weeks of almost no shows, one show, half show, flaking out on a show, I've been doing a show almost every fucking day. Why? Why the hell not? Honestly, I can tell you why. Because my brain is not right, but my body's better. And what I mean by my brain is not right is my brain is still not doing 100, but my body's functioning. I'm getting full night's sleep. I'm awake. I have energy. I don't feel like I'm going to fall over dead. I'm not having horrible insomnia, which means what the fuck? I can go on and say hello to everyone. And why not? Why not be social? If I can't be functional, I can at least be social, right? Hey, fair maiden, how you doing? I didn't get to see your response last night, but I'm glad to hear that you really appreciated your appearance in Siege Engine, or at least your namesake. There will be more of that character. If you have anything special that you would like said character to do in the story or anything, I am open to suggestions. I mean, I'm writing this thing completely for fun as a break to clear my brain from Boobs of Steel. I have spent nearly 2 years of my life writing Boobs of Steel. I keep saying it's almost done, and it really is. And last December, I took a month break off from Boobs of Steel for my sanity, and this December, I'm doing it again. The only difference this time is that I am writing a story to amuse none other than me, and that is Siege Engine. And I am putting out as many shout outs, cameos, and nods to my friends as I possibly can. And so I've put Fair Maiden White in the book, or at least her namesake, and I've patterned her after Jennifer from WKRP. So she essentially looks like I don't know what I forget how I described it, but basically the she basically looks like the adolescent boy's ideal woman, and she's the logistics officer who is too damn pretty to be a logistics officer, but she's on top of it. She's the person that keeps the machine running. And I felt, Fair Maiden here has been so damn supportive and been so much of a friend when it comes to Boobs of Steel, helping me out, going above and beyond the call of duty. Why not write her into it? Name a character after her. A character, base that character on someone Jen loves. May actually be named after. I don't even know. So that's what I'm doing. And Fair Maiden, if you've got any special scenes or anything that you would like to see that character do, I'll try and work it in. No promises. But yes, there has been other mentions. Like, I don't know if he's aware of it, but the crew chief in the story, the guy who keeps all the machines repaired and running, is named Chief Owens. And yes, that is a nod to our buddy Owen, the Guyver Patriot. I make a mention of a wolf. There, on JEC's request, there will be a weapon called the JEC. Haven't decided if it's going to be a cannon or a missile system yet, but there's been quite a few things I have done, but I'm not recalling all of them right now. But yeah, it's my escape. It's my way to kind of just step away, do something silly, something fun. Let me see. I've got some notes here from Fair Maiden. Green Eyes. Yes, I like Green Eyes too. Better. I am a fan of Green Eyes. Blue Eyes and Ice Blue Eyes can be particularly beautiful, but Green Eyes, especially on a redhead, just seem to go hand in hand. Of course, uh, the Fair Maiden character is I believe, a golden blonde in the spirit of Jen from WKRP. Um, and I am trying to work in. There's a character in the story I've created that's essentially it's about a team of mercenaries, and the mercenaries have an accountant slash lawyer slash agent who gets them jobs and deals, and he keeps claiming to be connected to the mob, and he is a 5'4" Vietnamese man who's 170 years old. People age slower in this setting. Basically, the human lifespan has doubled. So when you're 40 years old, you look 20. So there's this 170-year-old Vietnamese guy who dresses and talks like Joe Pesci. I just thought that. Oh, and claims to be the a distant relative of Richard Nixon. But anyway, this character, I'm toying with the idea of him being the dirty old man that's constantly trying to hook up with the fair maiden character, and she keeps turning him down. I don't know if there's going to be room to put that in the story, but I'm trying. So we've got Draco Nightmare. And Draco says, who are your top 3 cartoon supervillains of the 80s and 90s? And why are they my favorite? Okay. Well, I think the easiest, and I do mean the easiest go-to, is Megatron from the original Transformers. And the reason being is the guy was such a brute. He wasn't a good leader. He wasn't particularly smart. He ruled with an iron fist. He was kind of like Mussolini. It was just like, if he was the biggest, strongest fucker in the room, and he yelled the loudest. So everyone was kind of afraid of him. And he was such an over-the-top villain. And Frank Welker's voice for Megatron was so damn perfect. So that's an easy one. Megatron is at the top of that list. I would say among favorite shows was Robotech, but the thing with Robotech or Macross was that it was such a nuanced show. There was no actual mustache twirling villain. There were just people and civilizations with different points of views and reasons. So there weren't any real standout characters that you could say that is a super villain. There was just villains. So yeah, Megatron is definitely at the top of the list. After that, I don't know. Dr. Hell from Mazinga is pretty good just because he was so utterly insane. And his plans were like ludicrous. So it was like every other episode, it was, I'm going to make this robot and destroy something. That'll show him. So I liked Dr. Hell. Probably not helping much here. I mean, that's probably a vague one. Let me take a sip of my coffee. And 90s. I have to give that last one a thought. I mean, the one that keeps coming to mind, but I'm not sure if this is really the top of the list, but the one that is coming to mind repeatedly is Krang from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the cartoon, just because of the hilarity that he was a brain inside a body, and the brain was like stuck right in the robot that he drove around in was just like ridiculous looking, and he was just stuffed right in there in the stomach like a microwave pizza. And their vehicle was a giant orb on treads. I don't know. I liked that. I thought that it in alone was just so bizarre. This one doesn't count because I wasn't introduced to this character till my 30s. And that was, I will admit, when Kat showed me the Power Rangers movie, which I had no interest in, Ivan Ooze, that character was hilarious. I had no intent, no desire to see the Power Rangers movie, no interest in it, did not think I would enjoy it, but Ivan Ooze was just that the actor who played him apparently ad-libbed most of that. And the idea that he was selling his ooze, and come on, that's a cum joke, to parents, it was the actor made that. The actor made that work. And so Ivan Ooze is a favorite. Comic book villains. Okay, here's the problem with comic book villains. In the 80s and early 90s, I almost exclusively read X-Men. And hold on, sorry. I can't tell if I'm getting sick or if it's just allergies right now because it's been raining and everything's blooming. Yeah, that's right. It happens in the desert. And the X-Men villains were always, under Claremont at least, when Claremont was writing them, none of them fell into the category of just mustache twirling villain. Each of them usually had their reasons or their damage. So again, I can't say Magneto. Magneto was a complicated character. He was very interesting, but when I think of supervillain, I think of Doctor Doom. And I liked the original Doctor Doom, where he was wearing a mask not because he was ugly, but because he had one small scratch on his otherwise perfectly handsome face, and he was so vain he didn't want anyone to dare see that there was a slight imperfection on his face. Now I've heard they've changed that, but the original concept was great. Um, oh, I know, is a real little boy, and I was really little, okay? But as a very, very little boy, I must have been four, shit. The original Spider-Man show from the 60s, I believe, with that theme that everyone remembers. I loved Rhino because he was such a fucking moron. And if Rhino showed up, you knew you were going to laugh your ass off because it was almost like a Three Stooges routine of just Spider-Man making him look like a moron, which wasn't hard, and Rhino doing really stupid shit. So yeah, that's in there. Of course, that's you right. You said 80s and 90s, and that show is technically from the 60s and late 70s. So I don't think that counts. Oh God, yeah. I'm sorry. The only comics I read in the 80s were X-Men. And then after that, I kind of read a lot of indie books. So I think I answered your question. Let's see if we got any comments here. Going through. In the story, do you get a Guyver suit? Well, I hadn't really considered it, but I could give you. Since I'm Chief Owens is the crew chief, and in a military outfit, the crew chief is the guy that runs the mechanics. He's the guy, or the motor pool or whatever. In the Air Force, it's the guy that tells all the other mechanics to make sure to keep the jets working. In a armor column, a cav unit, he keeps all the tanks running, and he's the chief mechanic and engineer. So he's that is one of those staple characters that if you're going to have a story with vehicles in it that's military, there's going to be a crew chief, or if it's well, shit. No, actually, even in Star Trek or Navy, what was it? Chief O'Brien. Scotty was, I believe, he was the ship's engineer, but they all called him Chief. So essentially, he's the guy that makes everything continue to operate. But since this is a story with robots, I could have Chief Owens have a small power armor type thing or a power lifter like in Aliens that he uses to work on the bots because, well, such a tool would be very useful. Did you know that after Aliens, the U.S. military actually contacted the studio and said, "Did you actually get that thing to work? And if so, can we have one?" So the military actually does want one of those. Oh, okay. Fair Maiden White says, I was actually named after the black girl on the quilted northern toilet paper. My mother gave me those names, girl names, and she named the black girl Jennifer, and it stuck. Really? You know what? I don't even remember the black girl on the quilted northern toilet paper. Maybe it's a regional thing, or maybe it was just because my mom was really, really cheap and only bought generic brand that hurt, generic brand toilet paper that hurt my ass. Even though my family was never poor, my mom was like really, really miserly and hated spending money, down to the point that we would go without food at times because she didn't want to spend money. And it's like, look, you need to actually have food in the refrigerator. So if there was some sort of discount or she could shave pennies, she would. Down to the fact that she'd drive down to that one depot for the poor and buy moldy bread for us to eat, which was ridiculous because again, uh, uh, I don't. I think it's kind of tacky to talk about how much money your parents make, but at the time, the woman who raised me was a school teacher, and she was pulling in, I believe, anywhere between 50 to 75,000 a year in the 90s. And my father was working at Toshiba, then Sony, then Nokia. I mean, you name it. And he was always pulling anywhere between 150,000 to 200,000 a year. So there was no reason for us to be eating moldy fucking bread. And, we always kind of wondered, well, where the fuck is she putting all this money? Because she had control of the accounts. And the money had to be going somewhere. Anyway, the cameo may go over my head if I'm reading it ish, but I still appreciate it. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Going through here, I still have to ask his permission. One thing that may actually slow up the story is I've based a character on Raltz, who's a major character, and I'm going to have him read the story and get his permission. And if he says, no, 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 you can't include this stuff, I'll pull it all. But, Raltz is just too fucking interesting a person not to include as a character. And I've made a lot of changes, but he may still think it's a little too close to the truth. I mean, we've got there's a major character in the book named Razzle who is 6 foot tall, built like Duke Nukem, covered in scars, and has a midget girlfriend hot enough to be in Playboy. It's not a hard guess who that's supposed to be, right? Owen says, who'd be a better leader for the G1 Decepticons, Starscream, Soundwave, or Shockwave? Well, the problem with Starscream is that he was incredibly smart, but he was no leader. He did not inspire. He did not inspire loyalty or even. He didn't inspire anything. He was an asshole, and so even though he was probably the smartest of all the Decepticons, he was not leadership material. And so, yeah, definitely not Starscream. Soundwave's a drone. I mean, Soundray is like your generic minion. He does whatever he's told. Shockwave. Shockwave would not be a spectacular leader, but he would not be a bad leader. He would be a guy who got the job done. So my vote would be Shockwave. That and his voice was really awesome. It was apparently patterned after David Warner's character in Tron. Ivan Ooze is awesome. Agreed. Should have been in Power Rangers Turbo. Agreed. Let's see. Show it to your parents. Show it to your friends. Once you got your ooze, the fun never ends. Look, every other thing that came out of Ivan Ooze's mouth was like a semen joke. I mean, I'm sure that like parents were like, "Oh well, I thought this was movie was boring as fuck." I mean, the kids don't get the jokes, but this is great. Owen says, "You'd be surprised who my favorite G1 Transformer villain is. Unicron. Something about him is Lovecraftian." Yeah, especially when they really built up the mythology of Unicron. Because although it never made it into the film, there was this whole mythology about who Unicron was, and that the Transformers had their own mythology. And in the beginning, there was Primus and Unicron, and they were essentially the life spark of good and evil at the beginning of the universe. And Unicron, I forget how, but at some point he did not have a physical form, so he inhabited an inanimate object and slowly started turning it into that planet. And that his goal was eventually to devour the universe and become the universe. Um, so yeah, Unicron is an interesting character. Rain kicks up things, so it's most likely allergies. Yeah, probably. Hmm. Let's see. Doctor Doom is a great in comics and animation. Cursed in live. Yeah, I know. Tell me about it. Speaking of comics, I'm reading the original Moon Knight. Oh, this is Owen. Uh, so far I'm liking his first two stories. Or fighting a werewolf is pretty cool. Well, okay. Well, I don't know. Does Wolf feel okay about fighting Moon Knight? Um. Oh, you guys are talking amongst yourself. True story, and I've been cleaning up everybody's shit ever since. Damien, what is your favorite kick the son of a bitch moment? That moment when the hero has had enough of the villain's bullshit and pummels him till a teammate pulls him off. You're gonna have to be a little bit more descriptive of what you mean by kick the son of a bitch moment. Um, because that's really super vague. I mean, if you mean snapping and just saying I've had enough of it, oh shit, there's always Ralphie in A Christmas Story when he beats the crap out of the bully. Um, I'm trying to think of some other films. Hey, you mean that woman who raised you? Yes, I mean that woman who raised me. You got some kind of control thing with That's got to be some kind of control thing with your mom or something. Moldy bread, what the fuck? Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. There was some sort of weird control thing, Abigail. Um, she was definitely a control freak. I don't know. I could get into it. Now that I've got distance and I haven't spoken to the bitch in over a year, I think going on 2 now. Um, she's I'll say my dad is just narcissistic, irresponsible, never matured past the age of 15, and avoids problems. He loved to be dad when it was fun, and he didn't want to do it, and he was not present when it wasn't fun, or tried not to be present. And it was very clear that he wanted to remain a teenager all his life and sleep around and pretend he's rich. And well, actually, he was rich, but no, he wanted to pretend he was like super rich. He was spending money in ways that he really shouldn't. That's originally why my the woman who raised me got control of the finances. It was literally, you give me control of the finances or divorce. And so he handed her control of the finances, um, which, okay, you're thinking, okay, things will be handled sanely. No, that just meant money vanished. We never saw it. Suddenly, there was money for nothing. I mean, so yeah, I was wearing fucking hand me downs till high school, and I was like, why? Wearing clothing that was like from the 1970s that didn't fit me because the bitch didn't want to spend money. Well, of course, it did get spent on my sister. My sister always got new clothing and then some. So I don't know. Very complicated there. I've seen Kashern, the live action, not the animation. Hey, Humble Marty. Um, let's see. Sorry, the chat skipped. Oh, Abigail. Speaking of the control issue, when I told when I told my parents, look, you've gone too far, enough. You guys are morons. Leave me alone. I sent them an email that said, don't contact me anymore. Remove all of my pictures. Get rid of them, burn them, throw them away. Remove me from the will. just go on with your life as if I never existed. And considering the way they treated me, I figured, okay, they would do that. No, no, no. The moment that lady did not have control over me in any shape or form and had no way to get to me, it made her a lot worse. It was all about control. That, then it got really mean. Yeah, because logically you think, well, if you really don't like someone, okay, good, no longer your problem. No, 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 no. I guess she still wants me around to kick, and I'm not playing that game. Even with that descriptors, it would go over my head because you make characters alive, Ishii. Well, we'll see. Um, so far, the mention, and it's a rough draft. I mean, I'm writing at pulp speed, which means I'm just writing one draft and going to the next scene. I'm not even polishing. I'm not even looking back at it. I'm just now finally going back and looking at what I wrote and having Kat go over it with a battle axe. When I release this, just remember this is pulp. I'm writing this at pulp speed. It's only getting a rough draft and a rewrite, and I'm releasing it. This is not going to be the fine art that you're used to me producing. This is fun. That's why I'm releasing it under the name Ishii Gray. It's not even going to be J.Ishiro. So, so far, the mention of Wolf is I mentioned that a number of the pilots are off on vacation. The story begins with them coming back from a long job, and most of the team is off with their families or vacationing. And I had mentioned that Wolf and I mentioned three of you. I forget which ones, but I mentioned that Wolf, somebody, and somebody went to Thailand to party. So I mean that's a fairly blatant reference, right? You gonna add some zoonoid monsters in your story, or kaiju? No, no, no. This is a universe in which it's a human universe. There are droids and androids and bioroids and humans. The solar system has been colonized. There's no faster than light travel. Um, just about every just about every large moon around Jupiter and Saturn has a colony on it. Venus has been terraformed, but smells like cat piss. And if you understand the atmosphere of Venus, you'll understand why it smells like cat piss. Um, Mars has been colonized. The moon has been colonized. So, oh, and the largest rocks in the belt have been colonized. That's the setting. Now, are there zoonoids or aliens? No, but I do keep making mention. I keep making mention that there was this huge, huge war that lays out the setting. I read the rough draft of it to you guys a couple weeks ago. At the very beginning, you hear that the year is, I believe, 93 AE, and that is Anno Expansionum, Latin for in the year of our expansion 93. And the idea was that once it was clear the solar system was being colonized, they reset the Gregorian calendar to from AD to AE, as in the year of our expansion instead of the year of our Lord. If you think about it, it makes sense. So the calendar's been reset. So the year is at 93. Um, but there was this big war in the beginning of that time during the expansion, and it's called the Fourth War because, well, it's not important. And I keep mentioning that the Fourth War was the Allies versus the Sino-Canadian hegemony, where it's the Chinese and the Canadians wage this giant world war, and then Germany helps them out. But as the story goes on, I keep dropping hints, and I don't think this is a big giveaway or anything. I keep dropping hints that they were being puppeted by reptoids. Except the reptoids aren't aliens. The reptoids were underground dwellers that have always been on Earth. There are lots and lots of jokes and stuff about rainbow people in there. if you know what I mean, and how politicians were being puppeted by the underground dwelling dinosaurs. So there are lizard men that there was a war with, but they're not from space. They're from within the Earth. Shockwave actually betrayed Megatron early on in the Marvel comics. Yeah, the characters were very different in the comics. My head canon is that Soundwave's personality transferred to the Casseticons works. I mean, it is interesting. Soundwave really had almost no personality, but all the cassettes had very defined personalities, especially Rumble. Rumble was great. I really liked Rumble because he was just a thug. That's it. There was nothing more to him. He was a street thug. He just liked hitting things and causing problems. Yeah, yeah, you want to fight? Sorry about that. As much as I like Divatox, Ooze should have been the villain. Who's Divatox? Well, that's certainly interesting. I haven't seen this movie, by the way. I've only seen one Power Rangers movie, so I don't know. Divatox's outfit's a little goofy. uh, I'm with you. I think Ooze would have been a better villain. Let's see. So Unicron was Satan of the Transformers. Awesome. Yeah, yeah, he was actually Satan, or the embodiment of evil, the Prince of Darkness. He was pure evil, and Primus was pure good, and that both could give the life spark, but one spark was good and one wasn't, basically. And I believe, as the legend goes, Cybertron itself is actually Primus, and that that's the heart of Cybertron, that glowing heart that gives life to the robots whenever they take an empty robot down there and the spark brings them to life. That's the touch of Primus. Now, that's when I was reading the comics. This was the 80s, okay? A lot of years have passed since the 1980s, so I don't know what it is now. So about last night, Minotaur milking. Anyway, so moving on. So I don't want to talk about that. Why would you do that to me? I don't no. No. No, no, no. Oh God, why? Seriously, for the love of shit, why? Why Minotaur milking? I mean, I guess some women. Anyway, so that wonderful, wonderful illustration that I had as the I should have gotten to this immediately. I hope JEC is still in the audience. That wonderful illustration that you saw in the banner for this rambling that I'm doing was an illustration by none other than our local resident talent, JC, a man who never ceases to impress. Honestly, I'm surprised he is not bigger. Um, I mean, I've met a lot of people who were very good in my time. I've met a lot of people, but there are a few people that I've met that are as versatile as JC and can work as fast as JC does. Um, and is easy to work with. I mean, that's another thing. The guy's work ethic is really good, which, let me tell you, when it comes to artists, that's fucking rare. Anyway, that wonderful, wonderful picture that we all saw in the avatar or in the banner, that is a rough draft of Space Hunter Reiko. I sent him the Space Hunter Reiko script because it was done, and he was just having fun. He decided he'd draw the character, and I fucking love it. JC, now this one, the face is a little less developed. I mean, this one, that is one hell of a sexy face, but this one gives you more of a sense of a body type. And like I said, these are just like, you can tell he just roughed these out in probably a half hour. Um, But yeah, I love the retro outfit. I do. The retro space outfit is so perfect. Shit. I mean, honestly, this picture here, you do a really high quality one of these, I'd wear this as a t-shirt. And then the villain, Dr. Meyer, looks like Russ Meyer. It almost makes me want to dig up all the other scripts that I had written outlines for this character and just say, "Here, JC." I mean, if people would really want to pay for 22-page comics of Space Hunter Reiko, which was the precursor to Kami Slayer Angel, Space Hunter Reiko isn't intentionally offensive. I mean, when I came up with Kami Slayer is the idea is to be as in your face as possible. I wanted it to be ultra gory, ultra violent. I wanted it to be as offensive as fuck. I wanted it to enrage the rainbow people and the commies. This, as I said, I wrote this Space Hunter Reiko as a spec script for, actually, I think I found the website. Um, Hopefully I can share this and not get copyright struck or kicked off. I'll try and find it. But yeah, there was this company called Expansion Comics, and they sell short 10 to 15 page comics every week to or is it Growth Comics, to appeal to certain fetishes. And the fetishes were muscle growth, boob growth, gigantism, and I don't remember what the other one was. But anyway, the guy who did our avatars, I had mentioned, the avatars that you see Cat and I, the guy who drew those said, "Hey, this company needs writers, and they pay pretty well." And he recommended me, and I'm thinking, well, shit, $25 a page to write silly shit? Why the fuck not? And I wrote the script. Everything was going well, and then the guy just stopped talking to me. Not the artist, but the guy who ran the company. And I have no idea why. I don't know what went wrong, and it's kind of a shame because I could use the money. But I had written this really, really silly script about this character, Reiko, who is, your generic space bounty hunter, and her job is to hunt down criminals across the galaxy. Generic anime idea, or kind of like Dirty Pair, I guess. And every episode, she ends up encountering some pervert, and it just goes horrendously wrong. And in this one, she encounters Dr. Meyer, who has created a boob growth gun. And Reiko originally starts out as kind of a slender, athletically built space cop. And after Dr. Meyer zaps her, she ends up looking like this, and it's irreversible. But I don't know. I thought it was funny. And if people want to pay for it, shit, yeah, I'll write these. They're fun and they're easy. Okay. Uh, Wolf. Ralphie teeing off that bully was a rallying cry for me. Hell yeah. Um, okay, I'm going to go backwards because I fell behind in the chat. When I talked to you about bouncers, I failed to state plainly bouncers operated like hunter warriors in Battle Angel Alita. Oh, okay. Um, Going through here. Those sketches would make good t-shirts. You should also do a shirt for the Boobs of Steel cover art. Okay. Heard of Wolf's Rain, never watched it. Midget Russ Myers. That's exactly what he is. And the story has him. Oh, it's you, JC. You read the script. Yeah, it's going to have him strapped in a baby carrier, and this giant Amazonian sexy robot girl that looks like Maria from Metropolis is going to have him in a baby carrier strapped to her chest. She looks like the Rocketeer, but more sexy. I'll take it. Um, I love the Dinobots, but they were a little retarded. Yeah, I love the logic there of the Dinobots. It was, well, was it Wheeljack made them when he found dinosaur bones and decided, well, since dinosaurs had small brains, he should give the Dinobots small brains. Wheeljack was not a very good engineer. Or maybe a good one with really bad ideas. I don't know. Wolf says he needs your speed and commitment, JC. So those were just quick thumbnails from JC, which again is kind of a just an indicator of his skill that those were quick thumbnails. I like Unicron as the anti-god from John Carpenter's Prince of Darkness, the destroyer to Primus's creator aspect. That's essentially it, too. Okay. Lizard people from the depths of the earth. The evil that fights within? Well, yeah, sorta, kinda. Um, yeah, the idea with this setting is that it's balls out insane. The the idea with Siege Engine, the story, the cult story, the pulp story I'm writing, is I'm trying to maintain a certain level of believability, but yet the world itself has gone completely fucking nuts. The woman who raised you sounds cluster B or something. Please explain that term. Don't know what that means. You sent me to Thailand with all the futa ties? Why would you want to go see a ladyboy, dude? Well, I could send you to the Philippines. No relation to Liam Gray? Oh, hell no. Fuck. No. No, Ishi Gray, as in Ishi T. Gray, Ishi the Gray. The woman who raised you considered her your whipping boy, and she wasn't about to let you go. Because if she did, she'd have to take responsibility for her own actions. Yeah, that, and I think she was counting on me being her fallback plan if my dad didn't last long enough. And now that it looks like his heart problems, he's not going to last nearly as long as she had hoped. Yeah, her other meal ticket, which I think she wanted me to be, is gone. Okay, YouTube cut off the rest of your what advice for new creators last time. Well, God, I was on a rant then. I trying to catch up to that now would be a bit of a try and ask me a specific question, things you want to know. Because yeah, there's no way I could pick up where I left off. I mean, one minute I'm going on this rant about how these are things that all new creators should do, and then suddenly I'm pissed off because YouTube struck me for a public domain movie. As a kid, the Dinobot struck me as incredibly powerful, but having the personality of cavemen, which I think was the joke actually, which made them funny. And ironically, I believe Grimlock was also Frank Welker, who was the voice of Megatron. It was that guy. That guy was amazing. Quite a talent. You know, there's a movie where he actually plays Mother Goose in live action, and it's Frank Welker in drag as Mother Goose, telling dirty fairy tales. Cluster B is a group named for several personality disorders, one of which is narcissist. Oh, that fits. Did your father develop his heart trouble recently after certain medical procedures? No, he didn't. A little for a while there, I was a little worried it was going to be genetic, but this is kind of fucked. Um, Basically, he has a heart deformation. It's not genetic. It's because his mom, it was It was the 50s, and she drank and smoked a lot. And it gave his one of his heart chambers doesn't work very well. And he spent his life not knowing that his heart was working extra hard to keep his body running. And when he was a younger man, the body's strong and it could handle that. But as he got older and all his drinking and cigars and partying caught up with him, um, well, his heart wasn't really able to keep up the pace anymore, if that makes any sense. So it's, yeah, fortunately not genetic in my case, but yeah, I mean, it's regardless of anything he's done, that's that sucks. I don't think anybody deserves that. But yeah, I'm sure the woman he married probably didn't make it any easier. Cluster B is a group of personality disorders: antisocial, borderline, histrionic, narcissist person. Well, I don't know about antisocial because she liked being the center of attention. Borderline, histrionic, and narcissistic all fit though. I'd add sadism in there too, though. I mean, she is sadistic. It was a hard one to come to terms with, that she's mean spirited and she likes hurting people and gets enjoyment out of hurting people, uh, be it physical pain or making their life more difficult or taking things away from them. She likes hurting people. She likes making other people miserable. So I don't know where that fits into the mix. And the real giveaway should have been the story she had always tell about her youth. And we all thought it was weird that it was the one story she always stuck on. That it's like, why does she tell this story so often? And that was the story about when she was a little girl and her younger brother, who was also a dickhead, don't get me wrong. Her younger brother is a monumental fuck up and just as terrible as she is. But that she said she was on top of a ridge and her younger brother was walking along and she had a rock about the size of a tennis ball next to her. And from the ridge, she dropped it on top of his head and split his skull. And they had to rush him to the hospital and get stitches. And she said, I never knew why I did it, but I thought it was pretty funny. So yeah, that's the woman. Dude, in Thailand you could never tell. Surgery is better than ours. That may be true, but you can always tell by the hands. Seriously, can't fix the hands. The trick is the ring finger. Have you heard this? Heard of this? It's the ring finger. Um, Apparently, genetically, women almost never have a ring finger that's longer than a forefinger. Apparently, their forefingers will always be longer than their ring finger. Now, there are a few rare cases where if a woman has a lot of testosterone, that's not true, but usually you can tell. Um, let's see. Did your father develop his heart trouble? That question, it's interesting you mentioned that though, because I will say that after getting his COVID shot, the problems increased more. Okay. What kind of villains do you like to see? Do you prefer them as dumb brutes, super intelligent like Doom, sympathize with them, or should they be outright pricks? Well, it all depends. I mean, there are always the characters you love to fucking hate, Um, and that is that's I think universal. There are villains you're gonna want to just fucking hate, and you want to see take a pounding. So there's that. Hold on, but um, then there are the really fascinating villains like well, Hannibal Lecter. I mean, come on, the genius. He's fascinating alone just in a character study. Sympathetic villains honestly have been overdone. I mean, to some degree, I suppose most villains are sympathetic in some degree because you're seeing things in yourself that we all think but would never do because we're decent people. So in that sense, all villains can be sympathetic, usually, usually not always. The difference is they do evil, the evil you never would because you're not a piece of shit. Um, but anyway, so yeah, complicated villains are interesting. Dumb villains are just fun because they're dumb, and I don't know. That's always good for comic relief. Uh, hmm. Really, I think the villains we're lacking and we need more of right now are the villains that writers tell you that writers in Hollywood swear don't exist. And that is villains who are just fucking irredeemably evil. I am so sick of the phrase, well, I write my villains as if they're just people thinking they're the hero. Because, most people every person thinks they're the good person. Every person thinks they're doing the right thing. And that is the biggest load of horse shit I have ever fucking heard. That is moral relativism, and that has to go. No, it's time the world, the first world, the West, accept that there are people in this world that are just evil. And I know we're not comfortable with that word, but evil exists. And there are people out there who get a thrill out of doing things that are wrong because they know it's wrong. There are people who revel in doing wrong because it's forbidden and they're not supposed to. There are those who just like having power over people and hurting them to do it. Um, and the idea that certain characters could possibly be made sympathetic. No. One of the biggest problems I had in Hollywood when I was doing the script negotiation, the negotiation for the option for Titanium Rain, was the villain I had in there um, was, well, he was kind of a Mussolini type character, but he was a conqueror. That was it. He was a conqueror. Um, his motivation was power for power's sake. And that is why he was leading a civil war in China, because he wanted to be emperor. That was it. And the producers kept saying, well, why is he doing it? Your character, did his mom abuse him? Um, did he grow up poor? Did he hate rich people? Or, is there something wrong? It's like, no. And they kept coming back to, well, there's no money in it. Where's the money in it? It's like, Hollywood, people do things for other than money. Money is not the sole motivator in the world. And why is he doing it? He's an asshole. He's evil. Done. There doesn't need to be any further description. And they could not grasp the concept of doing something if there was no money in it or if there wasn't someone to blame. It was like, well, maybe the United States did something to upset him. It's like, no, the guy is just craving power. He wants to conquer. That's it. And there are people that are like that. In fact, Hitler didn't do it for the fucking money. Okay? Stalin didn't do it for the fucking money. Uh, Mao certainly didn't do it for the money. I mean, there are easier ways if you want money. So, yeah. Let me use an example. Okay? Boko Haram in Nigeria. There are warlords in Boko Haram and there are warlords in the Congo and throughout Africa who do things where they will go around and before every battle, they will gather up children, rape them, and then cook them up and have their men eat the kids or the women, to get because it's evil and it gets them riled up. There are warlords that part of their recruitment, when they recruit child soldiers, they will take the child from their family. They will rape the mother and burn the father alive. Um, then they will force the boy to rape his mother and burn her alive. How do you make that person, the person that forces a young child to do that, sympathetic? How in the world do you justify, oh, well, I'm sure he's the hero in his own mind? No, he's not the hero in his own mind. He is a piece of shit. He loves forcing other people to do horrible things, and he loves doing horrible things. That is real. Um, you know, what was it? John Wayne Gacy. No, there was no excuse. In fact, I would say most pedophiles, same thing. No fucking excuse. They're just terrible people. And so, really, yeah, that's the villains I think we need to get back to. We need to start having villains again who are just bad people. Um, because we've gotten plenty of sympathetic villains. I mean, you think about someone like Klaus Schwab. That piece of shit knows what he's doing isn't for the good of humanity. It's for the good of him. You know that him and Bill Gates are chomping at the bit to depopulate the world. They've these fuckers at the pharmaceutical companies basically released a drug that was untested for profit. But it wasn't about the money. They already had more money than they would ever need. They did it to do it because they wanted to and because they could. So yeah, it's time to stop with the, oh well, they had a reason. Um, and I think one of the reasons we see so many villains being turned into heroes in Hollywood is because the people running Hollywood are fucking evil. They're villains, and they want to be portrayed as the hero. It's like, oh well, there's no morals anyway. There's no right, there's no wrong, so there's just power. That's evil. How many social justice warriors have you said, or have you heard say that there's no right or wrong, there's just power, or power this or power that? There's never any talk of compassion or charity or forgiveness or love. It's always empowered, power, power. That's all they ever fucking talk about. When you're talking in terms of power, if that's all there is, you can't be heroic. Because to be heroic, you need something other than just power. You need to look beyond yourself. You need a thing called altruism. You need a thing called morals and ethics. Does that make sense? Okay. Um, I'm going through here. Oh, wow. Well, what a shock. What a shock. I start talking about morals and villains and evil and how horrible Hollywood is. And suddenly, spam bots start invading my chat. Did you guys knock those out for me? Okay. Sorry, I'm catching up. I went on a rant there. Anti-personality disorder means you're willing to often go against societal and legal rules to get what you want. Yeah, yeah, okay, yeah. And the thing is, this woman, long as she could get away with it, I mean, she was a real coward, was the other thing. Um, going through here. Looks at her ring fingers, sees both of them are longer than four fingers, shifts eyes. Are you talking about your own? Well, okay. For you females out there who you turns out your ring finger is longer than your forefinger, don't take that as a bad thing. Seriously, okay? If you're one of the rare women whose ring finger is longer than your forefinger, it means you have more testosterone in your system. And frankly, women with more testosterone in their system tend to do better in life, tend to have more of a backbone, and don't put up with anybody's shit. They don't do a lot of the chick shit, to be honest with you. Or they're utterly insane. I'm sorry. But it's one of the two. Um, sorry for the silence. Going through your. Okay, please. Whoever can somebody just kill this spam bot? I keep trying to kill it and it says that I can't. Can one of you with a wrench do it? Oh, they have sympathetic villains because he's hot. Yeah. Yeah, well, there are a lot of women who have a thing for serial killers. I bet those people who like sympathetic villains only because they have not seen true evil in a person. Well, a man tried to kill me once because he was having a bad day. It was that simple. He was having he was having a bad week. He wasn't in a good mood. So he decided, what the fuck? I'll try and kill these three teenagers. How's that sympathetic? Frankly, I think that's someone who just needs to be put to death for the sake of the rest of us. Society doesn't need those people. Okay, so you guys are swatting the bots. Thank you very much. If there are people that are just evil, a good counterpoint is who are good in is those who are good in the world. Dio Brando is one of the finer examples of the former Spice's sympathetic backstory. I don't know who that is. Is that Bastard? I need to read that series if that's who you're talking about. Yeah, some villains need to be irredeemable because if you look through history, there are plenty of irredeemable people that we needed to get rid of. Okay. I'm going to say something really, really horrible here. This will probably get the stream pulled. Believe it or not, the more research I do on Hitler, I don't think he was an irredeemable villain. I think that Hitler was a person who was a very broken man who, if they had caught it early, he could have been a very different person, but it was far too late. And by the time he went overboard, oh shit, he was irredeemable. But no, I would not put him in the same boat as, say, Mao or, well, shit, any of the communists. Mao was just evil, hands down. There was no redeeming qualities to Mao. I'd say the same about Marx. No fucking redeeming qualities. The guy was evil from the start. You look at who Hitler was. He didn't have to become what he was. Some of it was his fault. Some of it was Weimar Germany. Some of it was World War I and him getting gassed. The fact that he did have a certain level of compassion is the hint that he wasn't thoroughly, completely, irredeemably evil. There were things he did that showed that he did have a level of compassion, which is a little odd. You cannot say the same thing for like Mao or the Khmer Rouge. Those people were just fucking evil. There was no shred of empathy whatsoever in them. So it's kind of a weird thing to say because I know we always think of Hitler as the epitome of evil. Don't get me wrong, he was evil. But you put him next to a guy like Mao, or even worse, again, Pol Pot. The dude was like, next to Pol Pot, Hitler was, I don't know, Mr. Rogers. Seriously. Oh yeah, the Aztecs. That's a whole different story. They were a religious cult. They were insane. They were cannibals. They were losing their minds. They had driven themselves crazy, and they were an entire economy based on slavery. They don't teach you that. They were first an economy driven on a protection racket, which was you give us stuff or we'll kill you. And then it became an economy entirely on protection racket and slavery. And then it was an entire economy based on protection racket, slavery, and human sacrifice and cannibalism. Yeah, there's a reason their empire didn't last. But if we have villains that are just selfish and evil, they'll look like Hollywood and political elites. Yeah, they would. I mean, look at what was it, Harvey Weinstein? The things he did. I don't think that's redeemable. Uh, the fact was, you can look at some of these evil motherfuckers, right? Where they weren't hands-on. Like for instance, you get certain dictators who would order terrible things but wouldn't be present because they were too cowardly, or they didn't have the stomach for what they were demanding. Or then you get like Saddam Hussein, who would, for fun, take his sons over to the factory where there was an industrial plastic shredder. It was a paper shredder for plastic, and they'd run people through it and eat dinner and watch people get run through the shredder. Or, on the evenings, Uday Hussein would just drive around, walk into people's homes, find someone's daughter, grab her, walk out, and say, "Okay, well, you're my fuck for the night." Fuck her, beat the crap out of her, toss her by the side of the road, and then charge her for the gas. Think about that. Sometimes the only way to kick the evil out of the world is to destroy the vessel it occupies. Screw the psychology, forget understanding them. Oh, it's interesting to try and understand them, but yeah, sometimes what the psychologists often don't want to admit is that there are people who are just evil. Okay, there are people that you can just say, okay, this is a mad dog. Put the dog down. Okay, this one needs to go. It came out of the this one came out of the factory broken. But the rule is you don't kill them until they do the crime. Okay, that's where it gets bad. You don't no none of this pre-crime stuff. Everybody needs a chance. Okay, you just can't just kill people. Okay. All right. Heroics call for self-sacrifice or dedication to a higher cause, a higher purpose. Um, Even if that higher purpose is the meaning you're finding in yourself, you know, often that higher purpose is something in yourself that you're saying, no, this is wrong. I'm going to do what's right. I don't care what the law says. I'm doing what's right. And that's another problem we're having right now with the SJWs is they keep saying, well, it's legal to transition children. Well, it doesn't matter if it's legal, it's still wrong. Doesn't make it morally correct. Okay. Nah, I really do think the thing with Hollywood, why they're turning all the villains into heroes or sympathetic, is because the people who are running Hollywood are evil. All right, kept going through here. Night Stalker got so many effed up women sending him love letters. Yeah, I know. Oh, Dio comes from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Never read, sorry. Heard it's hilarious though. So wait, Kanye was right? Well, that's the interesting thing about Kanye. He's saying a lot of crazy shit, but mixed in all the insanity of that's why I'm wondering if he's purposely playing the court jester. There's a lot of things in what he said that are true. And the creepy shit is the stuff Kanye was saying is similar to shit Prince said before he died and similar to the shit Michael Jackson said before he died. I know there are a few others as well, but those are the ones that immediately come to mind. And if Razor Fist is right, Michael Jackson wasn't a pedo. He was set up. Tony Stark's awesome, especially that first film. The first Iron Man film, I relate to that Tony thoroughly. And I love his arc from being just kind of a self-centered genius who learns to look beyond himself. And he's still Tony, though. No matter what, even after he learns that he's done all these horrible things, he doesn't pull the, okay, I'll just stop. No, he says, I'll fix it. No, I broke it. I'll fix it. I love that message. I so love that message. I mean, how much, I think we need more people that are willing to just step up and say, no, I was wrong. I'm wrong. And I'm going to make it right. As you've noticed on this, for anyone who's followed me for any number of years, I hope you've noticed if I'm in the wrong, I have no compunction with just outright saying, no, I was wrong about that. It's just, and I've made mistakes and I've said so. And I don't really see why it's such a big deal for anyone to just step up and say, no, I was wrong. I fucked up. I don't see why that's an issue. Oh, Shakespeare wrote villains that were just evil to be evil for evil's sake. He was great at it. Macbeth. Yes, Hitler was a commie and actually was a member of the Communist Party before starting his own. But there's a bit of a history as to how that worked. And what it was in Weimar Germany, they tried socialism and then they said, well, wait, socialism doesn't work. What if it's socialism just for the Germans? National socialism. It's a more complex story than that, but yeah. Funny mustache man was off his rocker, but damn, the drugs and industrial development the Germans were behind. Yeah. I have the same birthday as Pol Pot. Yeah. Stalin was irredeemable. I agree. Wood chipper nationalism. Yeah. Hollywood hates looking in the mirror, so to speak. I remember they hated Joker, I theorized, because the late night show guy was a metaphorical mirror. Yes, played by De Niro, no less, who is that is the real De Niro. That is who he really is. De Niro is an absolute piece of shit. Which is really weird because Joe Pesci, on the other hand, is a really, really nice guy. Of course, on the other hand, De Niro is a friend of Harvey Weinstein, was essentially Weinstein's pimp. He would get Weinstein suggestible young girls drugged up beforehand before Weinstein had his way with them. Whereas Joe Pesci, he's Catholic, he's a conservative, donates to charity. Pesci is actually nothing like the characters he plays. Of course, also Pesci actually kind of knows the mob and had grew up around the mob. And for all their evils, the original mob had a code, and there was a set of rules and morals to them. I hated an open secret too. What is an open secret? I mean, just how everybody knew Weinstein was a rapist. Or yeah, another one. How about Jeffrey Epstein? How do you make him sympathetic? The guy was a fucking monster. I can't wait for Whoopi Goldberg to start sounding more like Kanye. It may happen. Prince, Michael Jackson, Kanye, there is a pattern. It kind of is, isn't there? I could be wrong. I don't want to be talking out of my ass, but didn't Tupac say something similar before he died or vanished? Michael Jackson admitted on camera to sleeping in the same bed as young boys, even if he didn't rape them. His behavior, yeah, I agree. That is unacceptable behavior. Michael Jackson was damaged beyond belief. Honestly, I don't think Jackson had the mind of an adult. I think that Jackson was all fucked up, and I do find it creepy that what was it? Prince and Jackson both had the same doctor. No, I'm not. I'm not fighting in Jackson's defense. Jackson did a lot of weird shit. But I'm saying if you take Razor Fist's argument, he didn't rape anybody. I'm still not saying that makes him pure, but it is interesting. And I will say that there is something kind of curious, and that was when all the Michael Jackson rape stuff started coming up, was at the exact same time there had been rumblings and rumors starting to rise up about Spielberg being rapey with kids. And then suddenly the news is dominated by Michael Jackson. Interesting, huh? Gonna go through these. Joe Pesci's also a rapper. I highly recommend you watch I Hypocrite videos with Michael Jackson. Okay, sure. Look, I'm no expert on Jackson, okay? I was never a huge fan. I primarily knew what was on the news. That was about it. And then I saw the Razor Fist video. Didn't De Niro make an anti-vaxxer documentary? He's done a lot of fucked shit. My favorite moment from first Iron Man movie was Tony watching terrorists killing people with his weapons and getting really angry and did something about it. Yeah, exactly. No, Hollywood hated An Open Secret. It was a movie about their abuse of children. Yeah, and you notice in all this Me Too shit, they never dared once get into the child thing, which is far worse than anything that happened to the women. Michael Jackson was abused by his father. Yeah, apparently, what was it? Joe was a monster. All these guys had the same handlers. Kanye and Lizzo had the same personal trainer, the MK Ultra dude. Oh yeah. Well, wait a minute. Wait, I got something for this, I think.
It is also true that Kanye West is a person with bipolar disorder, and this is a person in the middle of a manic episode, because there is no other way to explain his behavior. It's not performance art.
There's one thing I hate about this world more than anything. It is the juice. Everywhere I look, all I see is juice. Orange juice, apple juice, cranberry juice, vagina, 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 vagina.
Every human being has something of value that they brought to the table, especially Hitler.
And that is Head Trauma Television, now available on Rumble. T-12 till stream gets canceled. You know, the funny thing is that video is primarily about what a great big shit show this all is. Yes, it is. It is Harvey Pasternak. Yes, MK Ultraman. Guy's an evil son of a bitch. Okay, so, well, you know, let's get to happier topics, Joe Jackson. Again, Head Trauma TV on Rumble. Rumble's changed management. They gave me my account back. I don't hate them anymore. Tell you what, guys, I want more coffee. So I'm going to play a video for a minute. And And when I come back, I'll start the show back up, okay? I need more coffee.
Alert. Engine stall. Alert. Low altitude warning.
Echo 2. Come in, Echo 2. This is Sky Eye. Please respond. You slipped into a dive, losing altitude fast. Are you there, Echo 2? Do you copy? Echo 2, can you hear me? You've got to pull up.
Alert. Low altitude warning. Emergency adrenaline booster activating. Force adrenal gland stimulation in 3, 2, 1.
What?
Echo 2, do you copy? You need to pull up.
Oh shit. Engine's dead. I'm falling. Come on. Start.
Engine starter engaged.
Back in business.
When the ground is racing up to meet you and there's only seconds left before you're a smoking hole, gut reaction is to pull up. Hard. Put serious distance between you and below.
Come on. Gently. Gently.
The trick is to fight that urge. Pull too hard, and your engine stalls.
Gently now. Keep her steady.
Pull too hard, and you're dead. The trick is to ease into a climb. Aim low, and miss the ground by just a sliver.
Sweet Jesus, Echo 2, you did it! I was sure we'd lost you!
Copy that. Now where are those hostiles, Sky Eye? I need vectors and headings. Now!
The Draco that thumped you just blew past your position, 205 degrees for 85. Looks like he's moving to circle back on you from the west.
Roger that. Got him on my scope.
AIM 9X air-to-air missiles armed.
Moving to engage.
Solid copy, Echo 2. The second hostile is at Vector...
Sky Eye continues to rasp in my ear. Vectors, closure rates, the second Draco's position. All unnecessary. The moment my prey slides into the bore sight, I know exactly where the second MiG is. Cruising at high alpha, riding my 6, angling to drop me with a missile.
Echo 2, that second bandit is on you. Get out of there.
Hear you loud and clear, Sky Eye. I'm still taking the shot.
Target locked.
60 seconds. That's all I've got. 60 seconds to react. 60 seconds to strike.
Fox 2, missile away.
60 seconds to kill my target before his wingman tries to take me down.
Flash 1, he's down. He's down. Nice shooting, Echo 2. Now get the fuck out of there before that second bandit on your ass kills you.
Taking evasive maneuvers.
I know exactly the case. There was a documentary on it.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember the name of it, but I saw it. Oh, well, I guess I was gone longer than 4 minutes. Hello, everybody. I'm back. Hey, Kat. Yeah.
Hi. I'm on lunch.
Oh, you're on lunch?
I'm on lunch.
Go get your food.
I kind of did.
Do you want to sit here and talk to the audience?
Let me get a timer so that I
You-
don't get late, and I'll be back.
Am I muted? Huh? I wasn't muted. I was away from the mic. I took longer than I thought. Making the coffee and pissing took longer than 4 minutes. That video's 4 minutes. I guess I'll have to make a longer intermission video next time. Usually the Titanium Rain ad is long enough. We need another ad. Yeah, you know, maybe I wish I could set this to do like a playlist where it'll just keep playing until. But anyway, so yeah, let's talk about something other than terrible, horrible stuff. With the mechs in the book you are developing, do they have bayonets?
Does what have bayonets?
You know, that's actually a good question. I hadn't really considered it, but that could work. Yeah. The mechs that I've developed in this, I know for
like heavy arms.
Yeah. The thing is for a setting that's kind of batshit, I've tried to keep the mechs realistic.
Well, there's like heavy arms who had his shiv.
But I'll show
You're
you.
ignoring me.
No, it's not that. I don't know enough about Gundam to answer that question.
Oh, you know, heavy arms is nothing but guns, but strangely enough, logically, he has a vibro blade hidden in his forearm. We called it Joey the Shiv when I was in high school.
I like this comment.
But what about pissing while streaming? Then it's a double stream. It's a golden stream.
It's a golden stream.
It's magical.
A magical drop?
Yes, a magical. It's a magical drop. Exactly.
I think that's something else.
With rainbows, and it pops.
You're a bad person.
What?
You
ever see? Oh, we should get the animation of the Empress from Magical Drop.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Empress and the world. You know, the Empress is the Ilsa She-Wolf dominatrix. And then you have the world who just has a ribbon that's strategically placed.
Oh, I think we all love Ilsa.
Yes. Oh, I loved playing the Empress when playing a Magical Drop. So, yeah, you could put a shiv on there.
It's not, well, I'm trying to find the right one. I've got so many of these files now.
Nishi is currently looking at his image files for the cover of Siege Engine. So he's trying to look for an appropriate image.
Yes, exactly. But tell me.
Yes?
What are we going to do after you get off work?
I don't know. What do you want to do after I get off work? What do you feel like? Tell me how you feel.
Allergetic.
Oh, that sucks.
I feel like crapping in one hand and wishing in the other and seeing which one piles up first.
Well, I guess it depends on how hard it is.
I can't ever outdo you. I can't ever outdo you. Nothing I try is ever going to fucking outdo you. You know that? It's just, I don't even know why I try. I don't know why I even try.
It's fun. It makes for good radio.
Yeah.
How about that?
Okay, here's the signature vehicle.
Yes. The pretty hate machine.
Called the Cyclops is the model.
Yep.
But the Cyclops, I patterned these after attack helicopters, so it's like a cross between a Bradley and an Apache.
Mm-hmm.
So a Bradley fighting vehicle and an Apache. And I wanted all of them to be anywhere between 16 and 19 feet tall, and there's a reason. And that is because at 16 feet tall, it can run underneath a freeway overpass. And at 19 feet tall, it can run underneath any street light and hide behind most two-story buildings for cover.
So practical.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. You'd figure for a batshit insane world, I wouldn't care about such details, but I'm me.
Well, it's either you have to make them small enough to go under overpasses, or you have to make them big enough that it doesn't matter. But at that point, then it's a giant walking building and a target.
Yeah, that's my thought. And there are tires on it so that it can fold its legs
Are
up.
they filled with water?
They're probably solid.
Yeah, yeah, they probably
so
are.
It can fold its legs up and go into kind of like a mini tank mode. But the idea is that these things are piloted by they have a pilot and a gunner. Now the pilot plugs in at the spinal cord, and once plugged in, the mech is his body. He's paralyzed from the neck down, and all of his movements translate directly to the mech, so it moves like a human.
Mm-hmm.
And his point of view is through that lens up top, right? And so the idea is that it can move around like a soldier. The gunner controls that nice big Gatling gun on the chest. Over here, we've got flares. Here,
can they see your mouse?
I don't know.
Can you guys see his mouse when he's
Probably not.
Okay.
Does not appear so.
Maybe use the selectors. Yeah. There you go.
Flares and grenades, rocket pod, and this carries 9 Hellraiser missiles.
Yes.
This is the world's largest shotgun.
Mm-hmm.
Because in reality, one of the biggest problems right now with armor columns is in urban environments. You have the problem of guys ducking out of a window with a rocket launcher and hitting a tank.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult to react quickly. That's why you always have troops walking alongside tanks, and you also have Humvees. Well, if your tank is accompanied by one of these things, the dude hops out of the window. This thing moves as fast as a human.
Yeah.
You just aim the shotgun toward the window. You're not going to miss.
No.
And it fires grape shot, if you know what that is.
Mm-hmm.
Or chain shot. Take your pick. And this is a laser, a chemical laser.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the pilot can control these two guns because they're like pulling triggers. The gunner controls this, and it's kind of the look and shoot. It controls the rocket pods, the missile launcher, and all the other functions like the headlights and all the other shit. So it's a 2-person team. And yeah, I guess you really could have a bayonet.
Well, again, Heavy Arms had his shiv along his forearm like this,
mm-hmm.
and then it flipped up when he needed it.
I mean, I could see the use for it, and I gave it hands because, well, humans have hands. And frankly, I would have to imagine you would need hands in an urban environment
mm-hmm.
to move things around.
Well, I would say this. If he didn't have a bayonet or a shiv, considering how short, actually, they are, they probably would want some form of cutting implement to get past things like those wires that are in the background of this picture, or if there's chain link fence, or something that would impede movement, and it's easier to just cut it.
Good point. Okay, yeah, I'll have to add a shiv
mm-hmm.
of some sort. So anyway, world's biggest
Can you give the robot bigger boobs? This is from George.
I won't, but I could.
Well, why? I mean, Hildy's in that thing.
Yes, Hildy is
it's
inside
already
there.
top heavy.
Yeah.
Bar 1. Punching a hole through a wall with an operator in your hand is an epic method of dynamic entry. Indeed.
Shiv, big ass pair of clippers. Yeah, that might work. Chainsword.
Chain sword.
Boom gun is a railgun with a massive solid slug. So yeah, this is the logic behind the mechs in this story. The scouts only have one pilot because the scouts, the top half of it is controlled by joysticks. It's only the bottom half that the waist down
Is connected.
neurally.
Actually, I just thought of something. I'm just.
And this is not a scout. This is a frontline mech, so it needs a gunner and a pilot.
Let me throw an idea at you. With the fact that this is a neural link where, once you get in it, that's now your body. What if, they don't call them mechanics, they call them doctors?
Well, come to think of
like,
it,
hey doc, my knee's a little stiff here. Gotta fix
no,
that.
because you're right. You would need a medic on staff
Mhm.
for the company.
Oh, that too.
And yeah, I intend these essentially they're the working groups of 12, which can separate into teams of 2 or 3 teams, fire teams. And they're primarily for urban and woodland environments. Anything out in the open, they're worthless.
This is not a desert creature.
No, these things are for environments where you need cover and mobility.
Yeah, urban and wilderness. Perfect.
And so far, what do you think? I mean, yeah, I've got this insanely realistic attempt on mechs, but yet the story itself and the setting, what would you describe it?
If Philip K. Dick wrote Heinlein.
Really? That bizarre?
Yeah.
Okay. And okay, here, another close-up. This is the gunner's sensor ball. Yeah, I know. This is more detailed than it is ever needed for a mech story.
No, that's not true.
This is the gunner's sensor ball. The pilot looks through this thing. And these are headlights because, well, let's face it.
They're tits.
A military vehicle needs to have fucking headlights. I am so sick to death of seeing these mechs with no lights on them.
No, I agree. Actually, I do agree. The if you get somebody who's smart enough, they may put them on the head, but it really should be on the main chassis.
But yeah, and let's see. This is the Mercenary Corps logo. And the story behind the Mercenary Corps logo is sometimes it's there's no such thing as overkill.
Yes.
And the image is supposed to be killing an anthill with a nuke. So there you go. Hildy's headlights.
Yes.
Well,
you did say she controls them.
Yeah, exactly. Well, speaking
does
of,
she have to twist them?
Hi. Hello, how are you?
Sorry, I didn't mean to blue screen you. My shift's about over.
Should I
leave?
The thing is with you, okay?
Okay.
You make all these headlight jokes, but they're right there, right next to me, poking into me.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
That's just reality.
Yes, it is reality. A happy reality. This is a rough. This is not... I found this on DA. This is supposed to be what Hildy's built like, except she has Valkyrie braids.
Yeah.
And Hildy's the product of a weird marriage. Genetic engineering's involved. And how would you describe Hildy?
A smarter Pam from Archer.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Probably a little more ruthless too.
No. how angry Pam gets.
Yeah, you're right.
Hildy's fun love. The only thing I'd say is that Hildy is quicker to temper than Pam.
Yeah.
But no, especially with was it Danger Island?
Yeah, Danger Island Pam.
Yeah, Danger Island Pam.
Spray painting your guns is a good idea here in the urban battlefield, much like engraving your weapons. Gives you no tactical advantage. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
My shift is over. So I gotta go. Bye, everybody. Back to work.
Love you.
Love you.
Nightmare Snake. Okay, so I love how you all play around, Cat. Does my heart a world of good. Does my heart a world of good, too. Oh, cool. You want me to check the reply now? Actually, is she putting detail and thought into the mech was a great idea to bring people back, especially in a glossary or back page information. Realistic war mech fans are like tank and plane fans. Well, I am a massive fan of aviation and fighter jets. So, okay, let's see. And okay, I found it. It's called Expansion Fans was who I'd written the script for. And as I said, they have 4 services, but I'll show you some of their comics, at least what I can show. I don't want to get banned from YouTube. I've already pissed them off with playing a public domain movie. Okay. I agree. I will not read this out loud, JC, but I agree with your comment. So anyway, let me pull up some images from this Expansion Fan Comics company. And just show you the material that they usually publish. And it's like, well, what's the problem, man? Let's see. So I know this is dull as shit, but I don't know. I am winding down some, but I figured I'd give you guys a little sense of why I was just so kind of frustrated that they didn't make the script. Because I honestly, I think compared to their usual stuff, I gave them gold, in my opinion. Now, of course, me saying it. Sorry, I'm searching. Let's see. Here it was. They were giving $75 a script. And frankly, that's sure, why not? $75 a script. Okay, now time to share some of the stuff these guys release. And I think it will explain everything. All right, let's open up share screen. So yeah, here. Well, wait, why is it not loading? Fuck you. Fucking load, you stupid son of a bitch. Ah, yes. The wonders of DeviantArt. Okay, well, I guess you can see that much, right? This is the kind of stuff they published. And just this silly shit. And a lot of it was humorous. I mean, some of it was real fetish heavy. This one was done by the guy who did our avatars. Oscar did this one. All right. Another one. This comic is by the owner. the guy who runs the company. This is his book, The Cleavage Crusader. Again, silly ass shit. So I don't know. Yeah, maybe I didn't have enough of this. Maybe my script just didn't have enough smothering in it. But yeah, they're paying $75 a script for this kind of stuff, and they're paying the artists even better, which, you know, makes sense. It's more work. But here's another one of his comics. Yes, and in The Cleavage Crusader here, I believe the villain is stealing her titties to enlarge her own. Oh, yeah, I can't show you that. That'll get me in trouble. So yeah, and then there's the one of they've got gigantism, and I don't remember the other ones are. So muscles, gigantism, boob growth, stuff, and I don't know. I don't even know where I'm going with this. Any comments? Yeah, you should write these. No, my boobs of steel. In My Hero Academia, there's a course called Support Heroes, where they create equipment and gadgets the other heroes use in their line of work, especially Batman outsourced. I'm not an expansion fan, but $75 is $75. That was my idea. Yeah, it was my thought. Okay. It's like, hey, I like chicks who are kind of muscled. I like big tits. I can write this. And yeah, and I read their scripts, and I'm going to be up front. My script's better and funnier, but I don't know. Muscle Mommies 1, 2, 3, 123 special. I think there is a Muscles Mommy Muscles, or something like that. I think that is one of their books. Yeah, it'd be fun. All in the execution. Everyone loves big titties. I mean, yeah, fuck. I mean, if you guys are willing to support this project, this is such a low labor for me. I mean, usually when I do any of my projects, they're super labor intensive. My graphic novels usually take a year to produce. But this script, I wrote this script in like, I think a week. And then I spent another week polishing it just to make it funnier. And then we wrote down a bunch of other ideas that we just thought were amusing to fit all the various bizarre fetishes for the site. Like one was going to again be the drag queen. An evil drag queen from Mars shows up, and it's unleashes a giant kaiju monster. And Angel has, or not Angel, Reiko has to fight it. And there was going to be another one in which she actually herself has to grow to kaiju size to fight a monster. And we had a whole list of ideas. But yeah, I mean, it's just light humor. And they were all going to parody real anime as well. Shoot for Russ Meyer level of smut. Exactly. What did they call? They used to call those nudie cuties because they weren't really porn. Yeah, playful but not nasty. Except, you know what though? I will say, in Faster Pussycat does not count in that. I don't care what anyone says. Faster Pussycat Kill Kill. 1 is actually a very good movie, and 2 is a noir film. Sure, it's a noir film with giant titties and go-go dancers, but it is a legit noir film. Do you think there will be a live-action Spider-Man film that ever matches the awesome and insanity of Venom chasing? Probably not. I have no faith in Hollywood. Oh, that's an interesting one you bring up. Did you know that that's another fetish now? Is symbiote fetish, where either a dude or a chick, usually it's a woman, merges with the symbiote, and it gives her awesome curves and changes her personality, usually for the worst. Yeah, it kind of strange. It makes her, and of course, she come out and say super pervert. Imagine the amount of money you could make just by making some dude a super suit. If I had enough to. The show Lex is all about fetish and boobs. I tried watching Lex, but I don't know. It just never really caught my. I mean, the second woman, the one with the bob cut, I got to admit was fucking hot beyond belief. But the show itself, I don't know. I just never really got into it. John, I was an ass man my whole life until J.Ishiro's book became my gateway drug. I'm not a breast man, but oh Lord, I need help. You should study the nudity cuties of Doris Wishman to get in the mood. Yeah, you recommended that. Mudhoney is pretty nasty, but still fun. I haven't seen that one yet. I want to see it. That was supposed to be another one of his real movies, was where he had actually made an actual film that wasn't just gratuitous tits. It just was part of the plot. Symbiote fetish sounds like old octopus doju shit. Those people should have loved Guyver then. It has tentacles. Yeah, that one Guyver scene. Mike got me into Lex. Kai is so cool. Okay, so maybe you guys can change my mind about Lex. I mean, I'll be honest, I never sat through an episode. I've only watched it in bits and pieces. Usually when I was waiting for Farscape to come on. Maybe rewatch some Meyer films later. Up or Beyond the Valley of the Dolls, Super Vixens. Yeah. Super Vixens especially. There's been a high amount of symbiote fetish. Yeah. But, I mean, if people, I don't know, people aren't having fun anymore. That's part of the problem. You're not allowed to have, I guess, what would you say? I don't want to say innocent, but playful sexiness isn't allowed anymore. It's got to be like nasty kink now, like choking and bukkake, and the more extreme the better. I mean, the idea that you could just have something as funny as Porky's or Animal House style humor in terms of sex. That's you're not allowed to have that anymore for some reason. You're not allowed to have humor that's just fun for fun's sake. Either it's got to be some sort of preachy message or just beyond disgusting. Like choking, the whole weird choking fetish, chicks into being choked the fuck out. And frankly, these are easy to write. And I mean, if some sort of silly comic, JC and I can whip up on a regular basis maybe every 3 months or so, that plays into this sort of stuff that's just fun and funny and sexy. Shit, I'd do that. And I mean, I could do that on a regular schedule and it wouldn't interrupt my workflow in the least. It's really just a matter of, do you guys want to pay for it? That's always the big problem. And I am going to say this right now. I will say this now since everybody seems to like this idea. How would I put this? There has been a lot of projects where everyone says, yeah, that's great. I'd support it. I do it, then no one shows up. Now, I'm going to go out on a limb here and probably just dive into savings and pay JEC to do this thing and hope it sells. But I will say, if you guys don't buy it, that's it. There aren't going to be any more. Just saying. I'm just saying. I mean, right now, you're all saying do it. But if I do this thing and nobody buys it, fuck you guys, okay? because I've had that happen one too many fucking times. I feel like we'd be ready for a real Eon Flux show if people were running the. Yeah, see, yeah, Eon Flux had the right amount of kink and weird. And again, it didn't feel trashy. It knew to be self-aware. It knew when to be funny. It knew when it knew it was the right level of kinky. I don't know. This whole culture of kink now just is. I don't know. The more degenerate and debaucherous, the better it seems. I mean, it doesn't seem like it's okay to just like big tits or a pretty woman anymore, or to have light, etchy humor. It's got to be thoroughly disgusting, or have weird gender shit, or kids, or things going into holes that shouldn't go into, and minotaur milking. What the fuck's wrong with the world, man? Laura, Mudhoney, Motorpsycho, and Faster Pussycat are all similar. Black and white American. Yeah. I had trouble with Motorpsycho. I don't know. Maybe there was something about it that I just felt a little too. It's weird me saying this because I'll watch ultra-violent shit. There was something about the violence in it that didn't sit well with me. But yeah, Russ Meyer was an actual good director, and when he wanted to make a real movie with a real story, he could do it. And I would say all of his films have a vision. All of his films have a beginning and middle and end. And there was skill and talent put into it. And it was Ultra Vixens is just hilarious. I mean, it's insane, but it's fucking hilarious. Men are that they might have joy. Men are that they might have. Sorry, I don't know the context. We're too far in the conversation. I love Eon Flux. I mean, this is how much Kat and I like Eon Flux. We have an original cell from the show on the wall framed right outside this room. We've got five. We've got one from Vampire Hunter D, two Vampire Hunter D cells from Bloodlust. We have one from Ghost in the Shell, the first film, and one from Iria, the Zerum anime, and one from Eon Flux. And the Eon Flux one is really good because it's from that original short that was on Liquid Television where she's in the bikini and she's got the gun and the backpack. Have you ever seen a movie starring Jane Man? Oh, yeah. But you know what? I like Mimi Van Doren better. I recommend The Girl Can't Help It, a dumb blonde with big boob movie, but Mansfield actually makes the jokes so it's not demeaning. I like Mansfield, but you know what? I'm sorry. Mimi Van Doren for the win, man. Definitely Mimi Van Doren. God, she was hot. She was fucking hot. And I also like the fact that she'd do movies where she'd actually fight and wrestle. Men and women. She was a bit of a hellcat. I liked that. 9 years on Neptune has been a pleasure of a show to enjoy. I'll write that down. Never heard of it. I'll repeat. There are 28 people in the chat right now. Would you guys really pay, I don't know, it'd probably cost 20 bucks for this. I hate to say that for a comic. I mean, comics should cost $3. But unfortunately, because of the market and because of the niche market, you can't do that anymore. Would you guys each toss in 20 bucks for a Space Hunter Reiko comic where it's just, madcap slapstick big boob humor? Flatulence porn? No. Is that a thing? Oh God, please tell me that isn't a thing. I just literally did a Vampirella Venom symbiote commission. Well, see, the thing is, if this Reiko thing takes off, if people really want it, fuck, why not do a symbiote episode? That'd be hilarious. You could do a symbiote episode. You could do a gigantism episode. As I said, I want to do a giant mecha super robot episode. Oh God, what else is there? The first one's going to be breast growth, so I guess that one's already covered. Evil. I did want to do on the one with the evil transvestite. I wanted to base the evil transvestite on Gene Simmons in Never Too Young to Die, because that was just too damn funny. Wait, oh, Unqualified Comics is unaware of what I'm talking about. All right, I will share again. Years ago, years ago, my God, it wasn't years ago. It was fucking last year. What the hell am I talking about? It was last fucking year. Oscar, who did our avatar, in my picture here, was drawn by Oscar. Very, very talented artist. And Oscar had told me that he made most of his money illustrating for this company called Expansion Fans. I know everyone else has heard this, but Unqualified hasn't. And Expansion Fans wanted writers and artists to do work for them. And it was $75 a script. And I'm like, well, shit, $75 for 15 pages to write silly shit? Okay. And the fetishes that they did were boob expansion, gigantism, muscle growth, and I think something else like vor, furry, or some shit like that. I don't know. But those were the three I recall. And Oscar was saying, well, hey, yeah, I make most of my money drawing comics for them, so I can do my own projects. And they pay writers $75 a script. And I recommended him to you. And the guy that owned the company was like, well, a professional? Sure, definitely. So I wrote this script called, this is the precursor to Kami Slayer, by the way. So if it sounds familiar, it's because this came first. I came up with this idea for Space Hunter Reiko. And Reiko is your generic Iria-style anime bounty hunter who, patrols the galaxy like the Dirty Pair, hunting down criminals and bringing them to justice. Except the idea was every criminal is a fucking pervert of a different type of fetish. And that every episode she would be hunting down some criminal who's just a perverted fuck. And the first one was she was hot on the tail of the mad scientist, Dr. Myers, Dr. Russell Myers. Yes, Russ Myers. And he even looks like it. And he's a midget. And he's created his latest invention, the boob growth gun or the Gazonga grower. And then it just becomes this madcap adventure where Reiko, who starts out looking like a slender, athletic cop, gets zotted by the gun and grows to gargantuan proportions. And she stays that way for the rest of the series. There's no way to undo it. And the story involved Reiko chasing down Dr. Meyer as he and his fembot, who was this muscle-bound, huge-breasted robot based on Maria from Metropolis, run through the fashion district, zotting every woman in sight with the boob growth gun, while live streaming it to Kickstarter to show his backers that the gun works, because it was a Kickstarter-funded project he was doing. And Reiko brings him to justice. That was the first script. And I sent it and everything was going well. And then out of nowhere, they just stopped talking to me. And Oscar still talks to me. I still get along with Oscar just fine. Oscar still wanted to do it. But the owner of the company wanted nothing to do with me. I don't know if he looked into who I was and decided, he's a libertarian, fuck him. Or maybe he didn't like me ripping on social justice warriors. I don't know. Which is a little strange considering the content he puts out. But I wrote this script in a week and then polished it and made it funnier and worked on it for another week, just in, bits and pieces over time. And then that's it. Nothing ever happened with it. And I was sharing it the other night, and a whole bunch of you kept saying, yeah, put this out. And if you guys really want it, I'll do it. I'll pay out of pocket to get JC to illustrate it, put it up on either Indiegogo or Kickstarter. But I'm telling you, if I do this and you don't fucking buy it, I'm not making any more of them. Cute girls in the end of Akira City is full of Lord of the Flies flying. Oh, okay. That many folks in chat and only 5 likes? The fuck? Slap that thumbs up like it just like you insulted grandma. Yeah, I'm a little shocked I don't get more likes. I don't know. I used to get anywhere between 2,000 to 5,000 views a video until the adpocalypse, and it's just been going down ever since. The fact is, YouTube's working against me. They don't like me. And I think one of the reasons they don't like me is I'm not monetized. So multiple times they've tried this video can't be monetized. And I'm like, I don't care. And I've said to them, I don't care. This channel's never been monetized. I'm not doing it for money. I'm doing it because, well, I like doing it and I have opinions and you guys seem to like to listen. And so I know I'm being throttled, and I know that my view counts keep going down, and I know that people have said repeatedly that they keep getting unsubscribed. So yeah, that my days are numbered. I'm gonna go to eventually. It's going to be Rumble. Rumble seems to have gotten better. I've talked to the management at Rumble. Everything's been fixed. It's all cool. They're under new management, so it's okay. Maybe make fun of furries in the next episode. Work HP Lovecraft Horrors in so you can have tentacle stuff too. Sure, why not? There's plenty of room there. I'd probably have to consult Wolf on furry advice, though. And you know what? Actually, Guyver is open to it. There's plenty of room for Guyver. In fact, the first Guyver where the woman puts on the Guyver suit and it fucks her, and she orgasms when she joins with the suit, that deserves a parody. I could parody that to hell. For those of you who don't know, the series Guyver, I don't know much about it, but I know that the very first Guyver animation or anime is not the one everyone's familiar with, where the dude gets the suit and becomes a hero. The original one, 2 people get it, and the first person to get the suit is this real hot redhead. And when she puts the suit on, it's like having sex. And I literally have it shows the Guyver interfacing into her womb. I mean, it's some pretty twisted Japanese shit, what we've come to expect from Japan. But yeah, I could parody that to no end. Oh yeah, okay, here's another one that expansion fans did. Hey, look at this shit. Come on, I can do better than this. Seriously. Somebody got paid to do this. Mimi Van Doren for the win, definitely. High School Confidential and is her Citizen Kane. Girls Town's pretty good too. I know it's a dopey film, but it's a lot of fun. I would buy it as well. I need more entries in my Ishii section of bookshelf. Not too gay to like big old titties. Look, as far as I understand, most of the gay men I met in the 90s, and I will repeat, I lived in San Francisco, you had the gay men either had to be really, really bears or super masculine to not like tits. Most gay men I met liked titties and liked feeling titties. And I knew gay men who took advantage of the fact that since they were gay, girls would let them touch the titties, thinking, oh, well, it's all in good fun. Some of what you're talking about sounds like Wally Wood stuff. You nailed it. The stuff he did for Playboy and for the military, absolutely. Gotta go. Happy New Year, Ishi. Have ideas. We'll talk. Yeah, I got a phone now, as I told you. I replaced my phone. I'll be calling you. If Canada's shipping is too much, my fear is Canada wouldn't let it in. Is the problem? Canada won't even let Case File Arkham in. If we crowdfund it, the Kickstarter stuff will be fun meta stuff. Definitely. Well, the way I'm thinking of doing it is I'm thinking I'll just have the book made, or at least have everything illustrated and good to go, regardless. So if the Kickstarter goes through, I'll just print it and go. Because I don't know. I don't want to have to. There are reasons why it's easier to actually have everything done so you can go straight to printing. I'm not really into fetish stuff, but Rika sounds like a good idea for a crowdfunder. Commie Slayer Angel has more comedic potential. Yes, and actually it would be a good test run. If this works, it means Commie Slayer could work, is basically what I'm saying. When did Indiegogo go from being the platform that everyone liked to shit? What happened? A paralyzed pilot could drive one of these things if Neuralink. The sensation of regaining 4 powerful limbs almost addictive to the mech pilot. Oh, well, I guess he could. No, the idea is that when the pilot of the mech plugs in, his nerves are now directly plugged into the mech and no longer sending signals to his arms and legs and his muscles, so that it's a direct interface to the brain, so that the rest of his body just kind of lays there in the seat. And when he thinks of moving his arm, the robot's arm moves instead. When he unplugs, he's back to normal. But I'm sure a paralyzed person could do it. I mean, I don't see any reason why, as long as the wiring's there. We'd need to promote it. It honestly be smart to find forums or wherever cater to fetish. You know what? I bet it wouldn't be hard, because I know that. What was it? Patriotica did the same thing. That book, Patriotica. I know that's how he got his funding, is that he promoted like crazy to people who had boob expansion, muscle, and growth fetish, and he got crazy funding. And I only know that because most of them were subscribers to this expansion fan company. Do an episode that mixes symbiote and Guyver thing. Yeah, sure. I'll be honest, I need to have some fun. That's why I'm writing this short story, or this novella right now, is I have spent 2 years on something so goddamn serious. I need to just have something that's light and silly and not political. It's just fun. Although I'll still make fun of rainbow people. All right. Going down here. Yeah, that means my plan for Pissant Apocalypse, half done, final shoot. Dude, again, I will repeat, when it comes time for you to run the campaign to do that, talk to me. I've done enough of these, I can help you out. And I've worked with printers enough that I can make sure you get a book that looks good. Print Ninja is a very good company, unless something's radically changed. I don't know what your skill sets are. I know that you're way talented as far as doing everything by hand. But even like if you need help with the pagination and getting it all set up in either Illustrator or InDesign, I can help you with that so you get a good book. Really, I'd see the big challenge is, you know what I think you should do? And I know this is your project, do what you want. But I would say when you actually decide to send it to Indiegogo, I can even help you with a barcode, by the way, and getting you onto Amazon for sales. Again, been down that path so many times. I can help you with that. That's not that hard. What I would recommend is the size you've got is good. I would say size up to manga dimensions. If you sell Pissant Apocalypse in manga size, it'll stock better. People will be more apt to buy it. Store owners will be more apt to put it on their shelves, and trust me, people will just want it more. The mini comics have their appeal, but at the end of the day, people want more of a standard size. And the way that you've done your book, it would look beautiful in standard manga size. The Wokies abandoned Kickstarter after announcing their interest in crypto, and they started talking up Indiegogo. And Indiegogo bent over for them? Fuck Indiegogo. Yeah, promote it to perverts. Take their money. We can put Cat. You know, the thing is, I will say, you and I could promote the hell out of it, JC, but if we get Cat to promote it, by virtue of her being female, people will pay attention. It's just the way it works. I mean, it's kind of sad. You know, they always go, how it must be so hard being a female in comics. Back when we first got started with our Utopiates book, we always had Cat contact news sources because we knew if Cat did it, we'd get covered. If I contacted them, they'd ignore me. Put Cat's name as editor. So, I'll talk to her about that. I think she'd like that. Well, you know what? Be honest with you, she was the editor. It's not even a lie. And in fact, some of the dirtier jokes were hers. Because you've heard on air, she's much more perverse than I am. So Ishii, did the doctors that told Reiko it can't be undone, their fingers crossed behind their backs? In all honesty, I imply she kind of liked it. At the end of it, she is looking down at her enormous rack and decides she likes them that big. The advantage of having a wife with giant boobs. Yes, I would appreciate the help in formatting the print copy for Pissant. I'm planning to do manga size, exactly as they were thinking. Okay, yeah, not a problem. I can help you do that. Just ride my ass if I'm slow to respond, okay? I'm very bad with emails, so I apologize. All right, I've been on for 2 hours and 17 minutes, so I'm going to go. Thank you for hanging out with me. Any last comments? Waiting. Just weird how often Ishii and Kat go to me comics, but Ishii's keeps forgetting I exist. How do I forget you exist? And I'm not fighting you. I mean, honestly, I'm not good with that. I mean, I remember your name and your avatar. Like, Jesus, who was it that said they're gay, but they're not too gay to like titties? I know that he's mentioned that multiple times that he's gay, and I've already forgotten who it is. I'm really sorry about that. Once I meet you face to face, that won't happen, but yeah. Ironcast Knight. Yeah, I am certain Ironcast Knight has told me multiple times that they're gay, and I've forgotten every time. So, I mean, how many times did Marv have to tell me they're trans before I fucking realized, oh, Marv is trans? I kept forgetting. I every time I see Marv's picture, I just think, oh, the dude who looks kind of like a more boyish Bon Jovi. Yeah, Marv's going to hate me for that now. Okay, I'll look at your art, Owen. Or like, yeah, how many of you, like Abigail? How many of you are black? And I keep forgetting that you're black. Or I'll say, somebody will say, I'll be talking about BLM or some stupid issue, and you'll say, I'm black, and I think that's stupid too. And I'm like, oh, you're black? And it's like, you guys have probably told me 4 or 5 times, but of course, Like I say, I know Wolf's black because I've talked to him enough, but for the longest time, the Macross symbol was what Wolf was to me. That was it. That was his face, the Macross symbol. You mentioned going to Wolf on the furry thing. When I'm literally a furry artist who drew a long run. Really? I knew you did that really cool coloring book of monsters and shit, but I didn't. God, I suck, don't I? Rip Marv? Okay. I said I was going to go, but I need an answer here. Do you mean Marv is dead or Marv doesn't like me anymore and went away? I need an answer. I know I piss people off and I don't mean to. I'm waiting for an answer, Abigail. What's up with Marv? Come on, this isn't fair. Just quick, write an answer and I'll go. You gotta corner Ishii in a dark hallway and show him your card collection. Card collection? Yeah. Marv is okay. I was making a joke about Marv maybe being annoyed by your comments. You know, I don't. I worry. I will admit, I do worry that I might accidentally routinely offend Marv because he's trans and I don't take the trans stuff seriously. I don't want to insult the dude. I think it's, I do believe, say I just called him a dude. That's probably not what he wants. I find it very, very difficult to comprehend a male body being anything other than a male body. I mean, I know that there are a minute few whose brain wiring really is mixed up. But most trans people are either perverts or autogynephiliacs. I don't think Marv is either of those, though. I think he's legit. But yeah, it's just very hard for me to process that. And I'm sure I've said stuff to other people in here that was thoroughly insulting. But that's what I have a wife for, to say, hey, don't say that. That wasn't nice. All right. Good night, everyone.